Bonjour and welcome. Just doing a little video here before I set off on my annual trip to France. I wasn't planning to go actually till probably July or maybe a bit later, but my best friend is French. We met when we were 16 on a school exchange, and he's invited me over to a family reunion which they have every year, which I'm privileged to go to. So he emailed me just about a week ago, so I had a look at the ferry prices, and as I expected, Newhaven Dieppe with DFDS is a damn sight cheaper than Brittany ferries. For example, I think going to Saint Malo was nearly £500 with a motorbike before getting the cabin. Yet from Newhaven Dieppe, I'm paying £142 return with a cabin on the way back. Okay, it's a bit of a crappy crossing. It leaves at midnight and it's just 5 hours, so I don't get much sleep, but I get some. So I'll get back into the UK at 5 o'clock in the morning. So what I'll do now, I'll just show you how I've actually loaded the bike up before I set off. Okay, well, I've faffed around for ages on what sort of luggage to take. I've got throw over panniers, I've got a big tank bag. I came to the conclusion this waterproof tote bag was the best thing, because if I come across any traffic jams in any French cities, I'm going through two cities on the way there, that'll be narrow enough to do some filtering. And I just think that was the best solution. It's bungeed on, as you can see, probably a bit of overkill. The top box has got the usual things in. I've got waterproofs. My clothes are dry anyway, but if they get wet, they take a long time to dry out. So I've just got some lightweight waterproofs in there in case it rains. Toolkit, puncture repair kit, and a 12-volt pump. Bit of camera equipment, and then my clothes, mostly in there, and shoes, etc. for when I get to the other end. I've changed the headlight back to an LED, so I make sure I could be seen. Legally, I've got a UK sticker on the back, but that actually isn't legal, but the French police seem to turn a blind eye to that because it's a motorbike and you haven't got the room to put the big sticker that is actually required by law. I've never ever had a problem. What have we got in here? Let's have a look. You can see I got my paperwork in there, earplugs, spare bulbs, the waterproofs, a lock. I've got a cable coming as well, that should turn up. Some maps. I'm not using a sat nav. I've got a pretty good idea of the way and I can read a map. So the plan is when I get to Dieppe, I arrive at 10 o'clock. I'm staying in a very nice hotel just on the outskirts of Dieppe. I stayed there last year, lovely restaurant there. And it was 56 quid a night, so it's not expensive. Nice car park as well. It's off the beaten track. You won't get your hooligans walking past there. Next day then, that'll be the Friday, I'm setting off and I'm decided to use the French autoroute network. France is a big country. I don't know how many of you realise that. It's bloody enormous. And if I went on Google Street to avoid motorways and just go on the A roads, it's a 9-hour trip to South Brittany to Vannes, where I'm heading. And on the motorway, it's 5 hours. So for the extra couple of quid, I'm going to pay the motorway tolls. Coming back, the ferry leaves at midnight, and I've got all day then to amble up there. So I'll probably use the A roads, probably go along the Normandy beaches on the way back, and have a meal in the hotel that I'm staying in when I arrive, but then leave the hotel after an evening meal and head to the ferry. I filled up with petrol. There's 2 routes to go. From where I live in West Wales, near Ammanford, you can go straight down the M4 and join the M25 and then head straight south down towards Brighton and Newhaven. However, I really hate the M25. I think it's a horrible road. So I've decided to go down the M4 to junction 13 and head down to Portsmouth and go along the A27 on the south coast towards Newhaven. I know Portsmouth quite well. I used to work there, so I know where all the big supermarkets are for getting cheap fuel, etc. So it only takes half an hour longer and the mileage is almost identical. And in fact, if there was any problem on the N25, it's probably quicker to actually go on the Portsmouth route. So that's the plan at the moment. In terms of gadgets I'm taking, I've got a puncture repair kit, God forbid, and an electric pump that my son just bought me for my birthday. It's a lightweight pump that plugs into the 12 volts socket here, which is currently connected to the charger, which is, so it's a lot smaller than taking a conventional foot pump. That's what I thought anyway. And the CO2 cartridges I've got, they're fine actually in an emergency, but I find you only get 3 of them, and I don't think you've got enough pressure in your tyre with just the 3 of them. I wanted a little bit of security, so God forbid if that happens. So that's it, folks. So when I set off, I'll keep you posted what's happening and where I'm going. I want to try and video the French autoroute toll booths. I've never actually used one before on the motorbike. I've always gone on A roads, and the bit of France I usually go to doesn't have toll motorways. Now, going from Dieppe down to Caen, there are 2 toll motorways. So what I'm going to try and do is video the machines, and so I can show you exactly where you put your card or your money. Most of them now will take contactless cards. So that's the plan. I did use them last year, but I can't remember what the hell I did. But one of the things I have heard is that they identify the vehicle coming up, and they know when to put the little lights and all the controls on the paying machines. But I have heard that they're not very good at identifying motorbikes. So a car is classed as a class 1 vehicle in France, and a motorbike a class 5. So I'm waiting to see when I roll over the sensors if they class me as a car, which means they'll charge a bit more. And I think the answer then is to push the little button for help, and one of the guys should come out and help you. But I mean, it's not a lot of money anyway. Even with a car, I only paid 11 quid last year to get to Caen, so I might just avoid the embarrassment of having queues behind me and just go for it. Anyway guys, I'll close now, and I'll see you later when I get down towards New Haven. Ta-da for now. Well, after an uneventful ride back from South Brittany, I went through all the A roads in Normandy, past some lovely villages. I recommend Etretat with the big cliffs. That's Etretat. That's quite beautiful. And also Pont-l'Evêque, which I've been told is famous for camembert cheese, but it's a really lovely old town. So I've got to Dieppe now. Just had a meal in the hotel that I stayed at on the first night, and headed to the ferry port. And the great thing about it, if you have a look, I'm actually first in the queue, and I'm likely to be first on and first off. The ship sails at midnight, and there's the service vehicles over there all revving up to take off the rubbish and take on new supplies. Well, I just started to put this video together. It's now August and I went in May. I made the comment about wanting to film the motorway booth, so I'll tell you the little story what happened. It was a bloody disaster. I get on the motorway and I take my ticket and I put it in the tank bag. I ride, I don't know, 40, 50 miles to the first toll booth. And the bloody machine wouldn't take my card. Not at all. So I pushed the intercom. Did anybody come out to help me? Did they, hell? So I've now got the worst nightmare. I've got cars building up behind me. And I didn't know what to do. It was bloody awful. So I moved the bike to the right. So the car behind me actually got through. He paid his toll and off he went. And then the next car came through. The passenger was a lady and she was very kind. And she said to me, follow us when the barrier goes up. So that's exactly what I did and didn't pay. And then I got to the next toll booth and I thought, you know what? Sod it, you bastards. You've humiliated me. You put me under mega stress. So when I got to the next toll booth, I just followed another car straight through and didn't pay. I was half waiting for the police to bang me up. But I actually got down then all the way to South Brittany on the motorways without paying. From Carn down to Van, the motorway's free anyway. That's the A84. And on the way back, I thought, I'm not going through that hell again. So I rode back and took my time and went up on the A roads, which is lovely. Anyway, I shall see you next time. I'm hoping to do another video soon. I'm going down to Paynton bike night. Actually, it's called the English Riviera bike night. That should be in a couple of days' time. Hopefully the weather will be really nice. And I'll do a little video on that because it really looks a really good night out. Catch you soon. Ta-da.